Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. So obviously the huge news of last week was the fact that the World Health Assembly chose to adopt the WHO pandemic agreement. And can you believe it? Lo and behold, just 1 week later, there just happens to be a brand new COVID variant sweeping the world, at least according to the media. So this is one of the articles that's been doing the rounds this week. Highly infectious new COVID variant from China detected in US. The strain identified as NB 1.8.1 was first reported in the US between late March and early April among international travellers. A new and highly contagious COVID-19 variant that triggered a sharp rise in hospitalizations across China has now been detected in the United States, including in New York City, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. The strain, identified as NB 1.8.1, was first reported in the US between late March and early April among international travellers arriving in airports in California, Washington State, Virginia and New York. Additional cases have since emerged in Ohio, Rhode Island and Hawaii. Although the number of confirmed cases in the US remains low, experts are raising concerns, of course they are, about the variant's rapid spread in China and parts of Asia, where it's already become the dominant strain. In Hong Kong, health officials reported a significant surge in COVID-related hospitalizations and emergency room visits over the past month, especially among the elderly, the New York Post reported. The CDC airport surveillance found that travellers carrying the new variant had recently visited several countries, including China, Japan, South Korea, Thailand, France, Spain, Vietnam, and Taiwan, indicating possible wider global circulation. Here we go again, folks. The symptoms of the new strain are similar to those of the previous variant. Pretty much nothing. Including cough, sore throat, fever, and fatigue, as I said. However, experts like Dr. Subhash Verma from the University of Nevada say that NB 1.8.1 appear to have a growth advantage, making it more transmissible. What exactly is a growth advantage for a virus? Not really sure. But look, the way I see it, you could not write a better script if you tried. I mean, think about it. The WHO just finally gets to approve a worldwide pandemic treaty after trying for 3 years to get it passed. And then magically 1 week later, the media is reporting on this worldwide virus. I mean, look, it does just seem just a tad too coincidental, at least for my liking. Now, unfortunately, of course, they're spouting exactly the same rubbish right here in Australia. So here's the Australian article for anyone who wants to see what the Aussie media are spouting out there. A new COVID-19 variant is driving up infections in Australia. Here's what to know about NB 1.8.1. Researchers suggest NB 1.8.1 may infect cells more efficiently than earlier strains. As we enter the colder months in Australia, COVID-19 is making headlines again, this time due to the emergence of a new variant, 1.8.1. Last week, the World Health Organization designated 1.8.1 as a variant under monitoring, owing to its growing global spread and some notable characteristics which could set it apart from earlier variants. So, what do you need to know about this variant? Not much, really. The current COVID-19 situation. More than 5 years since COVID-19 was initially declared a pandemic. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was just declared a virus with pandemic potential. It was never actually declared a pandemic, which, of course, was one of the big issues here. But I digress. We're still experiencing regular waves of infections because you've got to keep people living in fear all the time. As soon as they're out of fear, get them back in. It's more difficult to track the occurrence of the virus nowadays as fewer people are testing and reporting infections. Oh, praise the Lord for small mercies. People have got some kind of a brain. But available data suggests in late May 2025, case numbers in Australia were ticking upwards. What does the research say? Because that's important. Like its predecessors, 1.8.1 carries a suite of mutations in the spike protein. This is the protein on the surface of the virus that allows it to infect us, especially via the ACE2 receptors, a doorway to our cells. Didn't know our cells had doorways. I must have missed that day in biology. Ah, well, never mind. The mutations include T22N, F59S, G184S, A435S, V445H, and T478I. Ooh, very scary stuff. It's early days for the variant. Yeah, no shit. It's only been out a week or so. How much could they really know? So we don't have much data on what these changes mean yet. Duh. But a recent preprint, a study that has not yet been peer-reviewed, offers some clues about why 1.8.1 may be gathering traction. I've got an idea of why it might be gathering traction. Maybe because Moderna just spent $1 billion to create a great new vaccine factory here in Victoria. Maybe that's got a reason why it's really gaining traction. Just saying. What are the symptoms? Oh, here we go. The evidence so far suggests 1.8.1 may spread more easily and may partially sidestep immunity from prior infections or vaccinations. How's a virus sidestep immunity? Maybe it's been in training. These factors could explain its rise in sequencing data. But importantly, the WHO has not yet observed any evidence it causes more severe disease compared to other variants. So why on earth are they reporting on it? Why does it really matter? How about the vaccine? You knew it was coming, didn't you? Come on, you did. Even if neutralizing antibody levels are modestly reduced against NB 1.8.1, the WHO has noted COVID-19 vaccines should still protect against severe disease with the variant. They actually have no idea because, again, it's only a week old, but it should. That's what they're saying. The most recent booster is available in Australia and many other countries targets JN.1, from which NB 1.8.1 is descended. So it makes sense that it should still offer good protection. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, people. It makes sense that it should do something. Please, just buy it because we're running out of money. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying. And people still buy into the rubbish, literally. I mean, look, these people couldn't lie straight in bed if they tried, honestly. Now, look, I'm only sharing this with you so that you know what the mainstream media are already reporting on, again, just 1 week after that pandemic treaty was adopted. So please watch this space because I dare say there's lots more still to come. Now, speaking of COVID, did you hear about the Melbourne Council that used almost $1 million of COVID recovery funds to lower speed limits rather than actually help Melbourne businesses recover after the pandemic? Now, I'm sure this is going to come as no surprise to anyone in Melbourne or Victoria, even for that matter. But for those of you in other states who say, come on, how bad is the Victorian Labor government? Really? This should tell you pretty clearly. So have a look at this article and have a look at what they've done. Melbourne Council took taxpayer money for COVID recovery. It used it to cut speed limit. City of Melbourne used more than $800,000 of rate and taxpayer money raised to help CBD businesses recover from COVID lockdowns to create 40-kilometre-an-hour zones in inner city suburbs. Money intended for Melbourne CBD post-pandemic economic recovery was instead spent on creating 40-kilometre-an-hour zones in inner city suburbs, putting up street signs and installing pedestrian crossings. A total of $825,000 was diverted from Melbourne City Council's $100 million recovery fund for road projects, including creating speed limits on roads in East Melbourne and North Melbourne. The revelation comes after the Herald Sun earlier this year exposed how the same cash reserve bankrolled 40 kilometres of controversial bike lanes in the CBD. The City Recovery Fund was funded equally by Town Hall and the state government. The $100 million pot aimed to revive the central Melbourne economy by helping businesses, especially in retail and hospitality, and also paying for events. The latest details, revealed by documents obtained under Freedom of Information laws, showed that along with the change from 50 km an hour and 60 km an hour zones to 40 km an hour in 2 suburbs, shared zone signs were erected in CBD laneways. Pedestrian crossings and traffic calming measures. How do you calm traffic? Not sure. Were also installed in Southbank, Parkville, North Melbourne and Docklands. Small Business Australia Executive Director Bill Lang said the money should have been better spent on projects that would foster economic recovery. You think? Especially how badly businesses got screwed here in Melbourne. Mr. Lang said although the money was spent between July 2021 and June 2023 during Sally Capp's time as Lord Mayor, the current Nick Rees-led council should improve the council's transparency, disclosure and communication around how public money was being spent. It continues to be disappointing why so many levels of government continue to restrict the free press who want to reveal to the public as to where their money is going and being spent, he said. North and West Melbourne Association spokeswoman Mary Masters said it's a long bow to draw that 40 km an hour zones and bike lanes provide economic recovery for the city. I'd say it's an impossible bow to draw. Early last year, Victoria Police withdrew almost 4,000 speeding fines handed out on Arden Street because it was likely that drivers were unaware the speed limit had been reduced by the council. So more wasted resources. And at the western end of Victoria Street, the speed was cut to 40 kilometres an hour, but then reinstated a few months later back to 60 kilometres an hour. All the time, more signs going up, more money wasted. I mean, this is just insanity. But that's the Victorian Labor government for you. I mean, it just, it boggles the mind. It really does. But look, the key thing is that rather than helping businesses recover, the good old Labor government instead spent money to reduce speed limits, which in turn meant that they could issue more fines, which in some cases they had to then go and cancel. But that, of course, means more revenue for them because, as always, it's all about the money. Now, speaking of fines, money, the good old Victorian Labor government, check out the latest cameras that they've just rolled out across the state of Victoria to raise even more revenue. Okay, now this is a long article. I've only just taken the key bits so that those of you in Victoria or who are going to travel to Victoria know what to look out for. Cameras roll out across Victoria to check on speeding. The final camera in a rollout of 35 new road safety units across Victoria has gone live, marking the completion of a $49.4 million initiative by the Allan Labor government aimed at curbing road trauma and catching unsafe drivers. Aimed at. Doesn't do it, of course, but it's aimed at. Positioned at the busy intersection of Dandenong and Clayton Roads in Clayton, the newly activated red light and speed camera will begin issuing fines over the weekend. Authorities hope its presence, like others in the network, will serve as a deterrent to drivers who treat speed limits and red lights as optional. Well, given that more and more fines are issued every year in the state of Victoria than the year before, I'd say it's no deterrent whatsoever. And given that the road toll increases as well, I'd say it has no impact other than making more money. Over the next 4 years, the Victorian government plans to invest $1.1 billion. Listen to the words. Victorian government plans to invest $1.1 billion under its second Road Safety Action Plan. The package includes $350 million for initiatives targeting unsafe driving behaviour, such as the expansion of the distracted driver and seatbelt camera program into high-risk areas. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. As I've said more times than I can possibly count on these videos, this is just a business to them, plain and simple. The wording they use tells you that. They're investing in more cameras. That shows you that they expect to get a return on that investment, by way of all the fines. Now, as I explained right back at the start of this year, the road toll last year across the country was the highest that it's been in almost a decade in most states. So it's pretty obvious that just blindly rolling out more cameras isn't actually having the desired effect on the road toll. It sure is making a hell of a lot of money for the state governments, though. Now, please, if you want to learn how to stop contributing to this revenue-raising insanity, and don't just sit there and go, oh, just don't speed and it won't matter, because we've covered already numerous times that that is just simply not the case, because these cameras get it wrong far more often than they get it right. And that's why the courts are full of people every single day of the week challenging their fines and getting off them, because cameras make mistakes. But please, if you want to learn the truth about fines and how to beat them, make sure you grab a copy of that Aussie Speeding Fines book. And of course, be sure to use that tried, tested and proven 3-step process to successfully challenge all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. As always, there's a link in the description and hopefully in the comments section as well. Now, if you want to go even further above and beyond what's in that book, then I would urge you all to please join us this Sunday. That's the 1st of June for our full-day webinar, which of course is on fines, vehicle registration and dealing with police. Again, there should be a link going up in the comments. Otherwise, we'll make sure there's one in the description after the video ends. But please be aware, there are literally only 6 VIP tickets left. That is it. I guarantee you they will all be sold by Sunday. So please, if you want one of those remaining VIP tickets, get in sooner rather than later, because we are not running another event until next year. All right, now speaking of vehicles and vehicle registration, which of course is an important part of Sunday's webinar, there was actually a report that came out just last week about how EV sales have dropped significantly yet again. So anyone who's contemplating getting an EV, please make sure you read this, because there are some very worrying signs for the EV market. This article is entitled, EV sales in Australia dropped to lowest level in 2 years, AAA. The EV industry in Australia has suffered a massive hit, with some experts claiming a recovery might never be possible. Electric vehicle sales in Australia have sunk to their lowest level in 2 years as more Aussies turn to the range safety of traditional combustion engines or plug-in hybrids. Data from Australian Automobile Association revealed just 17,914 EVs were sold in the first 3 months of 2025, or just over 6% of all vehicle sales in the country. The AAA quarterly vehicle report showed the last time EV sales were at that level was in 2023, when 17,396 cars were sold during the same period. The 2025 data also shows EVs have dropped market share when compared to the final 3 months of 2024, where 21,331 EVs were sold in the last quarter of 2024 to make up 7.42% of the country's vehicle sales. That represents a 1.12% in market share quarter to quarter. Federal Chamber of Automobile Industry's boss Tony Webber told carsguide.com.au he doesn't believe that EV sales can recover without proper government support. Just what we want, the government involved in some other part of our lives. Why would you even say that? Okay, I mean, since when was it the government's job to get involved, okay, in us choosing what type of automobile that we want to travel in? Government should focus on running the country, reducing the cost of living crisis, and let Aussies, decide for themselves without any form of government intervention what type of cars they actually want. I mean, at the moment, people seem to be voting very, very clearly with their wallets, and that is going to spell absolute disaster, okay, for anyone who purchased an EV hoping that there was going to be any kind of resale value whatsoever. But look, they can't say they weren't warned. We've been telling people on these videos for quite some time now. Now, of course, one of the biggest issues that we've covered with respect to EVs, especially lately, is how easily they can be controlled. Now, I covered an article on a recent video update where one EV manufacturer actually halved the horsepower of one of their particular cars just simply through an over-the-air update. Now, this controlling and hacking of EVs is a major issue. And of course, unfortunately, it's not just limited to EVs. In fact, there were 2 major data hacks in just the past week that many people seem to be completely unaware of. Now, first and foremost, there was a significant ATO tax refund data breach. And this is something that could actually affect you or someone that you know. So I do urge you to check out this article and make sure you haven't been affected. ATO tax refund data breach update. Urgent warning issued as hackers hijack MyGov accounts and pockets funds. On 20th of May 2025, the Australian Taxation Office issued an urgent warning after hackers infiltrated MyGov accounts and lodging fraudulent tax returns to steal refunds, including $9,318 from one Melbourne victim. With tax season nearing, the ATO urges Australians to bolster security to foil cybercriminals exploiting personal data vulnerabilities. Phishing scams surge, targeting MyGov credentials with fake emails and texts. Taxpayers must adopt multi-factor authentication and MyID to secure accounts. Of course they do, because what could possibly go wrong once you've done that? Hey, caramba. How are hackers breaching MyGov, and what practical steps can taxpayers take to protect their hard-earned funds? Don't hand them over to the ATO in the first place. There's a good idea. The ATO reported a surge in MyGov account breaches, with hackers filing falsified tax returns and redirecting funds to their own bank accounts, per Yahoo Finance. Melbourne resident Olivia Quinn discovered a $10,742 tax return fraudulently lodged in her name, with her bank details altered in seconds. They hack in, untick notify me or my tax agent, and change the bank account details. Quinn explained, highlighting the fraud's alarming speed. An ATO officer noted such scams take 10 to 15 seconds, leaving victims unaware until funds vanish. The ATO recommends MyID, a secure login app, to fortify accounts against an unauthorized access, emphasizing robust verification to counter sophisticated cyber tactics. The MyGov breaches expose digital platform vulnerabilities and escalating cybercrime, challenging Australia's tax infrastructure. Though the ATO insists its systems are secure, public trust falters, with ex-users questioning proposed digital ID safety, as well they should. Now, if you ever needed another reason not to sign up for a MyGov account, there it is, as clear as day. How many of you watching this remember actually the good old days when you used to get paid in cash in one of those little thin wallets and you had your hours on the top and the cash was folded up inside? It was brilliant. No hacking possible there. Who thinks we should go back to that? Feel free to put a comment on the video. But then there was a far, far worse one. There was actually a second hack this week, much, much larger, and it involved 184 million passwords. So again, please make sure you check this, because it is absolutely possible that you may have been caught up in this, or someone that you know may have. So the article, for those who want to look it up, massive data breach exposes 184 million passwords for Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and more. The file was unencrypted, no password protection, no security, just a plain text file with millions of sensitive pieces of data. Yet another data breach has exposed passwords and other sensitive information, but this one is a whopper. Cybersecurity researcher Jeremiah Fowler revealed his discovery of a massive online database containing more than 184 million unique account credentials in a report published on Thursday. Usernames, passwords, emails, and URLs for a host of applications and websites, including Google, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, among others, were stored in a file. The database also contained credentials for bank and financial accounts, health platforms, and government portals. The problem? The file was unencrypted. No password protection, no security, just a plain text file with millions of sensitive pieces of data. Based on his analysis, Fowler determined the data was captured by some kind of info stealer malware, a popular tool used by cyber criminals. An info stealer is designed to grab usernames, passwords, and other sensitive data from breached sites and servers. Once the criminals get their hands on the data, they can use it to launch their own attacks or peddle the information on the dark web. Many people unknowingly treat their email accounts like free cloud storage and keep years' worth of sensitive documents such as tax forms, medical records, contracts and passwords without considering how sensitive they are, Fowler said. This could create serious security and privacy risks if criminals were to gain access to thousands or even millions of email accounts. So this is very, very serious stuff, and it's certainly something that we urge people to take very, very seriously. Now, the other thing, of course, to note is that these are major, major companies, that people rightly expect to be secure. So here's the obvious question, at least to me, and that is this. If companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, if they can't keep your data safe, then do you honestly think that our banks or our government can? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So I hope you all think long and hard before you sign up for any new online service of any kind. And please, if you have to for some reason, please make sure that you keep personal data to an absolute minimum. Print copies of all sensitive material and then delete the digital copies, okay? Or at least keep them in a separate removable hard drive that only you can access. And please, in the words of that great show, The X-Files, trust no one. Okay, you can't trust anyone with this private, personal information and data, because there are just so many hacks going on now, so many data breaches. It's just not safe. All right, so finally, after all of that doom and gloom, I do want to finish off with a very positive article regarding cash. And it seems like the most cashless nation in the world, Sweden, has now actually backflipped and they're actually returning to cash. So here is the article. And again, this is very, very important. I urge everybody to read this. And again, once you've read it, you might want to print it off, and you might want to send letters to relevant ministers here to make sure we do the same thing. Sweden reverses course. Cash returns as a matter of survival, inclusion and security. Now, I usually wouldn't think too highly of those words, certainly not the last two, but when it comes to this, they do raise a good point. Sweden, once celebrated as the world's frontrunner in going cashless, is now taking legal steps to safeguard the role of cash in society. Policymakers in the central bank have come to see that physical money is a vital tool for social inclusion and national security. In its response to the government's cash inquiry, the Swedish central bank, Riksbank, has called for urgent legislation to guarantee that everyone can continue to pay in cash. Governor Erik Thedéen put it plainly: people should always be able to pay for food, healthcare and medicines both digitally and with cash. The increasingly turbulent global situation, increased cyber attacks, as we've just mentioned, and also the major power outages in southern Europe show the importance of being able to make payments even when the internet is down. Hallelujah, somebody gets it. Under the new proposals, supermarkets, pharmacies, health centres, petrol stations and other sellers of essential goods, as well as those charging public fees, would be required to accept cash. The Riksbank warns that without such obligations, the right to use cash could disappear for many, particularly the elderly, rural residents and those excluded from digital banking. This demonstrated the essential role of cash as a social equaliser and a safeguard. When electricity fails, the internet goes down, cash works. In times of power outages, cyber attacks, natural or man-made disasters, it's often the only way to buy essential goods or services. It's also a powerful pushback against the dominant narrative that progress must mean digital only. Sweden's policy shift re-centres cash not as outdated, but as critical infrastructure, especially for those left out of the digital economy. As countries race towards cashless systems, often with little public debate, Sweden's reversal offers a rare moment of reflection. Inclusion and resilience cannot be achieved by technology alone. The Riksbank is warning that Sweden's cash infrastructures had become dangerously fragile. The proposed reforms would require major banks to provide reliable cash services, such as daily deposits for businesses and cash deposits for individuals, to keep the cash chain functioning across the country. The central bank emphasises that legislative action is needed now to prevent cash from being marginalised to the point where it is no longer usable for essential purchases. This move is also a clear demonstration that allowing cash usage and acceptance to fall too far can create a downward spiral where access becomes so limited that only drastic measures can restore its availability. The country's new direction serves as a warning to others. If cash is allowed to fade away, the cost and complexity of bringing it back are far greater than maintaining it in the first place. Sweden's renewed commitment to cash is a reminder that in an era of growing digital dependency and uncertainty, cash remains a cornerstone of both freedom and security. So great to see that Sweden has seen the light. And of course, this is exactly what Jason Bryce is trying to achieve through his petition to legislate a formal cash and banking guarantee in this country. So please, if you've not yet added your signature to that petition, again, you'll find a link going up in the comments section. If you're watching this on YouTube or BitChute, just do a search online for petition to legislate a formal cash and banking guarantee, and you'll find that link. Now, of course, it's a great opportunity to remind people also join our Call Out Cashless Businesses Facebook group. That's where you can name and shame any businesses that refuse to accept cash. One for the top of the list is the Meriton Suites in the good old Gold Coast Surfers Paradise. Stay well away from them. They've all of a sudden decided that they don't want to accept cash, and apparently it's across all Meriton buildings. So if you're interested in staying somewhere nice and you want to pay cash, stay well away from the Meriton. And of course, don't forget to join the Cash is King discussion group. Again, a great place to mention these sort of articles, post these sorts of videos and let people know about the issues with the cashless agenda. And of course, when good news comes to pass as well, like what we've just seen in Sweden. All right, now just before I finish up tonight, again, super quick reminder. I mentioned before that fines, vehicle registration and dealing with police webinar is on this Sunday, the 1st of June. As I said before, literally 6 VIP tickets left. That is it. So it's first in, best dressed. If you want to learn everything that you need to know about how to successfully challenge all manner of unjust and unlawful fines, why all vehicle registration may in fact be unconstitutional, and of course exactly what to say and do and what not to say and do the minute the blue and red lights come on behind you, please make sure you secure a space. Again, there should be a link going up in the comments. Otherwise, we'll pop one in the description. You can also check out some of the other webinars that we've got for the remainder of this year. And again, you'll find a link in the description. Make sure you also check out our seminar page for some of the other live events. We do have our Gold Coast live events, the final 2.5-day live events coming up at the start of July. And of course, we have our boot camp events at the end of October and the end of November. All right, so finally, as I always do, I'm going to finish off with the latest memes just to get people really thinking about what's going on at the moment. Now, of course, for those of you in Victoria, you'll be able to relate to this because, of course, the good old Allen government, all too little, all too late, has decided to finally ban machetes. But as we know, it's not the weapons that are the problem; it's the idiots who are using them. So, how about instead of banning machetes, we ban importing savages from violent parts of the world? Now, there's an idea. I mean, pretty simple, isn't it? Guns don't kill, machetes don't kill, idiots with those things kill. Let's get rid of the idiots, and then we won't have a problem. Very simple. Yes, good old Zoe Daniels putting her foot in her mouth once again. We've seen the results of the recent federal election, and this is a post of hers from 2020. Trump has to find an excuse for losing that is not himself because he can't accept being a loser. And then what happened when Zoe Daniels lost her electorate? Zoe Daniels calls for a Goldstein recount. Because, of course, it can't possibly be her fault that she didn't keep her seat. Yes, now we've been talking about the next pandemic and, of course, the good old vaccines. And I saw this one do the rounds and I just thought, yep, sadly, there's actually people that believe that. Oh, yes, but it would have been, it would have been worse if I hadn't had the vaccine. Okay, sure. Ah, yes. Now, in the midst of this wonderful cost of living increase, can somebody please explain this? Because, yeah, I don't understand it either. It says, explain to me why our electric bills never decrease, even though we've all swapped to LED lights, we've got Energy Star appliances, and we've built all these massive solar and wind farms, and yet our electricity prices keep going up. What am I missing? Because once again, something doesn't add up. So as we sit potentially on the verge of another pandemic, and who knows what may result at the end of that, this is a big shout out and a big cheers to all the pure bloods out there, those that never fell for the propaganda, who stood strong and didn't engage in the wonderful global medical experiment. All right, so I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to make use of all of the various resources that are available to you to, of course, get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. That's what we need this year more than ever. As always, these videos are completely free to watch. You'll find them on our YouTube channel and our BitChute channel. You will find them on the videos tab on our Facebook page, but do be aware Facebook are deleting these videos after 30 days now, so very limited time to watch those. If you do subscribe to our channels, you'll be notified of any new videos as they are uploaded. Of course, we have our radio show, again, completely free to listen to every second Tuesday night. We are back again this coming Tuesday. So again, another 2-hour show, completely uncensored, lots of really, really detailed information. There's lots of information, of course, on our websites as well. If you miss any of our radio shows for whatever reason, you want to go back and listen to any of our podcasts, access any of our notes for each show, or any of the transcripts that we now have uploaded for every single show we've ever done. It literally costs less than $5 a week to join up as a podcast member. So jump on our website and do take advantage of that if you want to listen to any of our past podcasts. Now, of course, if you want to go above and beyond that, we do, of course, have our ebook, The Essential Step-by-Step Manual for Understanding and Exercising Your Rights. A great range of topics, many that people have no idea about before reading our book. Of course, the Aussie Speeding Fines book, these guys have been around for 18 years teaching people how to successfully challenge all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. So grab that book. And we do know a lot of people are genuinely struggling financially, so please stop throwing good money after bad at your unsecured loans, at your credit cards, personal loans. Make sure you grab that Bank Secrets Revealed book. Use that tried, tested and proven 4-step process for discharging or writing off those debts. You can get these all individually. Again, there's links in the description and in the comments. Of course, you can get our tote bag included if you buy all three together, just as a little bonus, no extra charge. We have our caps and beanies. It is getting quite cool, especially in the evenings now. So grab your beanies, keep your head warm, wear them around. People see the logo, they come up to have a chat. It is a great way to meet like-minded people. Don't forget, fines registration and dealing with police webinar this Sunday. Make sure you sign up for that. If you can't get to that for any reason, or our other live events, please make sure you grab a copy of our home study course. This is, of course, a complete recording of one of our 2.5-day live events. There's 17 DVDs plus a CD with all the documents that we use. You can pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home. There's 3 custom-made workbooks. There's sections to write notes next to every single slide for every single presentation. And it is a fantastic resource that you'll come back to again and again and again over the years. So there's a link to that in the description. So I'll leave those there. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend. We look forward to speaking to many of you on the webinar on Sunday. Otherwise, we'll talk to you all on Tuesday for our next live radio show. Until then, take care.